Ladies, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to Women of Wisdom, the WOW community by TRADEway. This has just been an amazing journey. I have met so many of you out at the Trade Surge events. I've talked to so many of you in our customer service filter. And Jenny and I are just so humbled and so pleased and so happy to see all of you here today. And I would like to just get started by just talking about, well, how in the world did this, did this even come about? And I just want to say it came about because of you. I had met many of you at the Trade Surge events from all different walks of life, and you shared your heart and you shared your stories. And I took those back to Katie and just shared the need. Never dreamed that it would ever, come to this opportunity, quite frankly, just because we have so many crazy, great things already going on at TRADEway. So we are just so pleased and happy to see this thing come to fruition. And we're just glad that you're all here. Just welcome, welcome, welcome from everybody. I've seen all of these different states. I mean, we've got ladies, Jenny, we've got ladies from everywhere here. It's amazing. So thank you for joining.
Yes. And a lot of you are already putting in the chat where you are from. So if you haven't, go ahead and do that. We also would love to know kind of where you are on your trading journey. Are you trading yet? Are you paper trading? Are you just getting started? That would be great to know as well.
So I'd like to get started for those of you that don't know me, just kind of talking a little bit about my journey. A lot of you that have seen me at the Surge events have heard my story, so I'm going to keep it quite condensed, but you've never seen pictures of my family. I talk about them, but you've never seen them. So this is myself and my sweet husband, Guy. He's my greatest fan. He says, go every time before a Trade Surge event. He tells me, he says, honey, go out there and just help all the ladies and all the people that you can. So, he's my greatest champion. He stands behind me, and we've been married for over 30 years. Then I have 4 great kids. I talk about my kids. I have Brianna, she's the oldest, and then Ryan, Stephen, and Nicholas. She likes to tell everyone that she's my favorite. And if you've heard me say this at the event, I said, well, she gave me 4 grandkids. So boys, if you want to move up in the ranks, you got to provide more grandkids. But as moms, we know that we all, we love all of our kids the same. They're all special to us in all different ways. And I just have to say, God blessed me with 4 great kids. Now, my favorite people in the whole wide world are those that call me Nana. So these are my 8 grandchildren, starting with Colt, Harper, Brinley, Bryce, and then we have Jackson, Lincoln, Jeremiah. I'm sorry, I started to call him by a different name. He actually is the newest member of our family, Mr. Jeremiah, and Jensen. So I have 8 grandkids. My TRADEway journey started back in 2012. I heard Pastor David Mitchell on a radio advertisement. I was working corporate USA. And wanted a different way of life, just working, so many hours away from my family. My mom, who has since, passed over to Glory Land back in October of 2020, lived with us. And so she was a very big part of our family and, helped us, she was the glue for our family, kind of held us all together though. So that's that. So started in 2012, went to an event just like many of you. Many of you that started your trading journey have started it exactly the same way. So through that, because Pastor David Mitchell and family believe in not only creating generational wealth and helping Christians that want to do that, but also generational education. Not only take this and hide it in your heart and, use it for your own benefit, but let's teach our kids, let's teach our grandkids. So all of our kids had access to our education growing up. And this summer, I'm going to be working on my 3 oldest grandkids, teaching them how to trade. So I'm super excited about that. I worked corporate USA. I know that I don't look a day over 35. Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies. I love you to death. But I actually worked corporate USA for nearly 40 years. I was the only high-level female executive, either place that I was. Not anything that I signed up for, but for whatever reason, the Lord promoted me. And I look at the fact that the Lord promoted me. Man may have tried to take credit for that, but the Lord promoted me in those situations. So I was always the only female executive working with a bunch of men. So one of the things that you will discover about me is the way that I learned to deal with a bunch of men in the corporate world who absolutely made no exception for the fact that I was a woman, or showed me really a whole lot of courtesy in that regard, is my greatest asset was the fact that I am goofy, silly, humorous, and I will use humor. I will speak the truth in love, of course. And I'm kind of sassy and I use sarcasm. So the only filter that I have is my Jesus filter. So what that basically means, ladies, is this. When we speak the truth, sometimes it's hard. We say it in love. So what I will tell you is what my Jesus filter means to me is, if you're an NCIS fan and you're a Gibbs fan, you know this. That means that when we talk and we're real with each other, I'm gonna give you a Gibbs slap upside the head, and I'm gonna reach around, I'm gonna hug you and love on you at the same time. So that's kind of my personality, just kind of this quirky thing. One of the things that you may not know about me is that I came to work for TRADEway in 2019 as TRADEway's Chief Compliance Officer. Went out to review a trade surge event and felt that little tug on my heart that, you know, the Lord was calling me into the surge events. Sorry, I did not mean to get emotional. But so many of you that I have been able to share with and learn about, you have actually clarified my journey with the Lord. And I just want to tell you, thank you for that. So the Lord orchestrated a way for me to get there to the trade surge events and to be with all of you. And so, you know, off I went. Had never sold a thing ever in my life, had never been in that type of a role. And I was like, Lord, what in the world are you doing? Mm-hmm. And I just had to learn to be transparent and just hold my hands out and empty my hands and fill them up with him. So the Lord provided the opportunity, and off to the trade surge events I went. And along with a lot of my coworkers, and I see them popping up in encouragement here, supporting me on this webinar and us on this webinar. So thank you, ladies, for that. So just kind of started that journey there. And so after 3.5 years as compliance officer, moved over into trade surge, and also, you know, working in our customer service filter. A couple of things you may not know about me is I live in Fort Worth, Texas, have 6.5 acres. We have all kinds of animals. I just got 4 chickens, and I have some goats. They all have names. They're all country music singers. So I have everybody from George Strait to Randy Travis is our newest little baby boy goat. So they're all country singers, so they're all pets. And then we have dogs. The other thing that you might not know about me is I am a lady biker chick. I ride a Spider motorcycle, which is like a reverse trike. And so I belong to the U.S. Spider Riders of North Texas, and we're a riding group, and we like to do charities for, we support a women's charity. Our riding group supports a women's charity up in Decatur, Texas, that helps female first responders, as well as women in our military that have experienced any kind of trauma. So that's enough about me. Oh my gosh. Now you probably know, now you probably have information overload on me. So what I'd like to do now is I would like to introduce you to my co-host, my trading buddy. I count her as my newest daughter. Her name is Jenny Taylor. So Jenny, take it away.
Oh, that was so great, Diana. I have a little bit more boring life than a motorcycle chick, though. I will just say that. So where did you tell them where you're from, though, where you live?
I did.
I missed that because I've been reading a ton of chats. So I'm actually up in Minnesota. I saw somebody on here that's from Minneapolis. So hello from finally spring in Minnesota. It was a terribly long winter. Any other fellow Minnesotans know that. So it's been nice to finally have spring. My boys here, well, first of all, I've been married to my husband Adam for 15 years. And we have 4 boys, Liam, Jude, Lincoln, and Mitch. So they're 11, 9, and the younger 2 turn 7 and 5 here in June. Yes, I am a boy mom, and no, we are not trying for a girl. I am very pleased to be in the next stage of life of not having a baby on my hip constantly, although I loved it. It's interesting to finally, move past that and kind of get to the next stage. Of course, they don't need me as much like physically, but just probably even more so with other, emotional and spiritual aspects. So that's exciting. But yeah, we live up in central part of Minnesota, and during the winter we wonder why we moved back. But during spring, summer, and fall, it's you can't beat it. We live right between, like, you go 30 minutes one direction, 30 minutes the other direction, and there's about 5,000 lakes to choose from either direction. Well, that might be extreme because there are like 10,000 lakes, but I mean, there's lakes all over. We love to fish. I'm excited to hopefully get a tube out this summer and do some tubing. And yeah, it's just fun. I'm wanting to plant a garden. I have stuff down in my kitchen sink that has been growing since I got it in the middle of March, and I somehow need to go get it in the ground. I just don't know when I'm going to do that. So that's a little bit about me. You'll see here, I almost forgot this, that this actually last Saturday, I got to walk in my college graduation ceremony. So I completed my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration actually in December. I only had like 5 classes left to do. So it took me, about 15 years to get a 4-year degree done, but I've done a few things in between. Yeah. So about my TRADEway journey, and I should have like silenced the alerts on my computer before this. So if you might hear some stock alarms going off, just bear with me if that happens. But I started back at my first TRADEway event in 2009 as a student, and I began my trading journey in my very early 20s. And within about a year, TRADEway did end up asking me to join the team, and I helped in a lot of different capacities over the years. I am currently an investment advisory representative, and I hold my Series 65 license since I think it was 2016. 2017, early 2017. I can't remember. It's after I had Lincoln. And I passed it within a year of that. But so now I'm an investment advisory representative for TRADEway, but I mainly focus in our portfolio management department, which is what we call AMPT. So if you've heard of any of that on other webinars or in email series, that's what my main focus with TRADEway is now. But I have been a coach. At times I do still help with coaching. And I was actually one of the original webinar hosts, the Monday night webinar hosts that, or webinars that are hosted on Monday nights. I was one of the original team members that did that. And that was like before I had kids. So, some of my roles have changed while I was, doing something a little bit more important, having children. And then I was also an event speaker since 2011. So I did that for 4 or 5 years. And then I'd taken a break, and I'm hoping to be able to get back into that as we do some live events in the future. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have to talk about with my self. But now that you guys know a little bit more about us, we want to spend the next few minutes talking about our purpose in life. So let me see if I can get this slide to go to the next one. All right. What do you guys think our purpose in life is? So we want to actually have you guys take a minute, think about what do you think our purpose in life is, and put that in the chat for us.
Worship God in all that we do, says Andrea, to be a light for Jesus. Boy, they're flying through here. To be humbly. That's a big question. To love and serve God. Oh, I think somebody might have got it. To glorify God and raise children who love. Woo!
Yeah, it's
Oh my gosh, the chats are going by so fast. Glorify God. Jenny, why don't you hop in there and share with us what the Lord says our purpose in life is?
Thank you. We had a couple that actually had
Yes.
the answer that I had written here.
Yes, they did.
To glorify God and enjoy him forever. And that is just our ultimate purpose. And I think we all, as Christians, I think we all realize what we all kind of have like an underlying or subconscious that we know we're supposed to glorify God or do everything we do for God's glory and not our own glory. And we see that in 1 Corinthians 10:31 here. And then also whatever we do, we're supposed to serve the Lord rather than men. And we see that there in Colossians. But I'm not sure, like for me, I didn't really, well, for one, I'm like, what does glorifying God even mean? What does actually it look like to glorify God? And what that looks like is by loving him, enjoying him, trusting him and his word. And then, well, how do we show that we love and trust him? And it's kind of it's kind of a hard question when we sit there and think about, is our life actually reflecting that we love and trust him? And how do we know that? Well, we see in John 14:15, Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments, right? So glorifying God is loving him, trusting him enough that what his word says is true, and then actually doing what his word says in our lives and obeying what his commands are in our lives. So when I was 30, about 5 years ago, I was reading some old information back from like the 1700s during the Reformation. And that's where I actually saw, this question and answer. And actually it's what is the chief end of man, which is like, what's our ultimate purpose? And it was to glorify God and enjoy him forever. And that's when I was like, that's my ultimate purpose is not to do all these other things, not to be a good mom, not to be, a good wife, not to do this, but actually to do all those things for God's glory and because I love him. So, when I finally realized that my ultimate purpose in life and the reason that God created me was really for his own glory and to bring him glory, and really it doesn't have much to do with me at all. It has to, or what I think my reason for existing was, it was all about God. And it really helped me shift. A perspective change took place in my own mind and in my heart, that my very existence is for God's glory alone and to glorify him in my life. And it really changed my love for him and how you can live your life for him on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not having to find my purpose in my work or being a mom or being a wife, but instead I can find, or like I have something on here, or the next trade I'm looking for, or having the next fashionable piece of clothing, right? But instead I can be content in whatever God has for my life. So that, because I know that the ultimate purpose is for him and to him and to glorify him, it takes a big burden off of my shoulders too. And when we have that alignment where this is our ultimate purpose, then everything else we can do can either be for his glory or we're actually doing it for ourselves. And within that, of course, we have, like, I have a lot of people saying, well, you know, we need to make disciples and all this. And yes, those are, of course, are also our purposes. But if we're not doing that for his glory, then we're actually doing it for our own glory or for the other, you know, for other reasons. And it's really easy to have that alignment off. And for me, that was just a huge, I don't know, a big shift that took place. I mean, I would have hoped that, you know, I would have known the way I knew when I was 30 that was my purpose. And that's something like I have just drilled into my kids, like, your purpose in life is to glorify God and love and obey him. It's not all these other things. All those other things are probably good if they're following his commands, right? But we can't put our purpose in other things. We have to put it in him and glorifying him. So that really is my why for why I wanted to come alongside Diana with this program, is because I want to really help women, Christian women, grow in their faith and their understanding of the gospel and how we are to glorify God through what we say, think, and do.
Jenny, I absolutely love that. So ladies, you know, at the Surge events, we talk a lot about our why and how important it is to know why we do certain things. So for me, my why was basically y'all. So back in like September, October, the Lord started kind of working on me a little bit. So at the end of the year, first of this year, I went to Katie Huber, who's our COO, our female entrepreneur, our fearless leader, who's on here. I went to her and I said, and I was like, Lord, you know, what do you want me to do? And he said, you know, we'll, you know, take it to them. So when I presented it to her, it was not about Jenny. It was not about myself. It was just about, I just see a need. You know, I'm out here with these ladies. I'm listening to them. I'm connecting with them. And I think that the Lord, you know, wants us to do something special, you know, for the ladies. I know we've got a ton of stuff. And so she came back and said, you know, basically that, you know, gosh, we have so many things already, you know, that are serving our students and helping them and supporting them. You know, I'm not really sure, you know, that we need one additional thing here, but we're going to pray about it, because that's the one thing we do about TRADEway. There's nothing that leadership or ownership does or even considers without, you know, seeking the Lord to see if this is what he wants them to do, because they are very surrendered to the will of God. So there's nothing that happens at TRADEway that there wasn't a whole lot of prayer put into it by ownership, as well as all of us who work at TRADEway. We bring it up in prayer. We bring you up in prayer. But me, and when Jenny started talking about, you know, what is our purpose in life, I thought, man, I'm off the hook. You know, I brought it to Katie and I was like, how many times do we do that, ladies? You know, the Lord tells us to do something and we step out and we say, okay, we bring it up. And then, you know, we kind of feels like we kind of got like a rain check, or we kind of got an out. So when Katie said, well, we got to think about it, we got to pray about it, I was like, whoo, Lord, thank you, Jesus, I'm off the hook. I am, you know, I brought it to them, you know, and if they do it, that's great, whatever. Well, about 2 weeks later, Katie came back to me and she goes, you know what? She goes, we're going to do this. And you know what? I want you and Jenny to do it. Well, in the background, Jenny and I had already been talking. So I thought, well, here's strike two. You know, Jenny's very, very humble when she talks about herself, but I want to tell you something. This woman rocks it every single day. Not only does she work full-time for TRADEway, not only is she an investment advisor representative, helping all of you with your retirement accounts and getting you signed up, she also homeschools her children, runs a home, and supports her husband in the running of their home together. They're a partnership. So when she told me that, you know, man, I just don't know if I can do this, I'm super duper busy. I was like, okay, Lord, I did my thing, and, I'm off the hook, and, but when Katie came back and she said, I want you guys to do this, I got with Jenny and I said, well, I think we're both back on the hook. I think the Lord put us back on the hook. So we're off to the races, and you ladies are the reason why the WOW community, and the community within the community pages is even going to exist. It's all about you. So this is going to be very interactive within our community page. So, and even, when we do our occasional webinars, we want you to know that this is all about you, and we want you to participate, because it's all about you. So that's my why. Y'all are my why.
I like it. Well, I'm going to correct one thing. I had been homeschooling my kids. We ended up putting them in a Christian school about like 6 to 8 weeks ago. So that's all I was going to say, but that has been a huge stress relief. So, but yeah, I did that for about 3, 4, 5 years or something like that. So it was great. But we needed to make that change, and it's been really good for the kids. So, but yeah, I am busy, and I really do enjoy the markets. I will just say that. So, we're excited, about the community. So now we want to tell you kind of about like our purpose statement here. WOW is a community of Christian women who are dedicated to growing in wisdom, strength, and discernment. This community encourages women to glorify God in all areas of their lives, grow in their personal sanctification, and support one another on this journey. At the heart of WOW is a belief that we are made in God's image with a special role in his world as a daughter of the King. By building wisdom, strength, and discernment found in the Bible, women can become the salt and light in their families, communities, and beyond, helping to further God's kingdom through our attitudes, actions, and words.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You try to put, things in place, and you start trying to think about, different things to say and different things to do. And how do we create a mission statement? And, this is all the Lord. All of this stuff, he just laid on our hearts. And I mean, it has just rolled right on out. I just absolutely love that. Ladies, this is all about you. This is all about furthering the kingdom. This is all about the Lord. And this is just the path that he's bringing us all down together. So we had to come up with something that we wanted to do to support kind of what our vision is. And when I was praying, the Lord kept bringing this to me. And, quite frankly, working in corporate USA for all of the years and being in different positions of authority and decision making and all of that, I have to tell you that I struggled with this, because strong women in the workplace are often not treated the way that we should. And I'm not trying to come from any kind of a oh, woe is me type position. But strong women in the workplace sometimes are called not very nice names. And so when we started talking about a women's community, the Lord just kept bringing this back to me and bringing this back to me. And what he really impressed on me with this is the fact that strength and dignity go together. Okay. When you separate them is where the problem comes from. So when you have strength, and the Lord calls us to be strong, but he also calls us to be dignified, okay, because we're representing him in everything that we do and say, in our purpose, and everything, just everything that we do. He calls us to be strong, but it's strong clothed with dignity. It's that softer side, okay? And it tells us that we don't have to fear the future. Because if we're following, if we're obedient, if we're fulfilling his purpose in our life, there isn't anything to fear. Who or what should we fear? And when we speak, we should be sharing wisdom. And when we give instructions, it should never be, you need to do this, 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 and this. When we're giving any kind of instruction that it's helpful, it's wisdom, and it's cloaked in kindness. So you've got two other things that are cloaked in kindness, that whenever we're communicating one with another. And then the third part of it is talking about the work that we do. Well, again, coming from the corporate female, sometimes the stuff can kind of, it's almost like sandpaper sometimes. And so I did a little bit of research, and when it comes to the book of Genesis, and I know that you've heard this, and in many different works of life, and many of you that have shared your stories, and some of them are very gut wrenching, and we've cried together over just experiences that you've had in your life. Sometimes it's just really hard. Sometimes this is just difficult. But in the book of Genesis, when God created man and woman, or male and female, I've heard, Pastor David talks about this. He didn't take woman from the head to be over him. He didn't take her from his feet for him to trample on her. He took her from his side, which means that we're to be a helpmate, which we are to be supportive of our husband, that we are to be, and if you don't have a husband, you're supportive of, the people in your life, but you can be strong and dignified. You can be wise. You can give instruction. You can be kind. But here's something that you may not know. So in my research, one of the things that I found when the Bible is talking about a helper comparable to himself, the Hebrew word that God used, or that the Bible uses, is, and I'm not a Bible scholar, so I'm probably going to just absolutely blow this one, but I'm going to say it phonetically. But Ezer, or Ezo Kenegdo, which means rescue, to save, and to be strong. Ezer was used twice to describe Eve, and is also a military team, meaning warrior. So someone who takes care of her future self is not afraid because she was prepared. She's not easily manipulated because she knows whose she is and to whom she belongs. So she is full of boldness. So for our WOW community, we want to be full of boldness, strength, dignity, patience, courage, devotion, determination, wisdom, and grace. And I believe that these verses give us all of those tools to have the ability to do this. So that's why in the WOW community, these are our foundational verses and the why behind it. So I hope that you ladies, I hope that you love it. So be strong, but be strong with dignity. Be wise, but be kind when you're giving instruction, and work hard and be strong.
That is great. I think if you could go, Diana, if you could go ahead and type in the chat what the helpmeet, or the helper, Adam's helper, Eve, what that Hebrew word is, just type it in the chat. Okay. So maybe Tara already did it for us, but Tara, you've got yours just to host and panelists alone.
Oops, sorry.
So if you guys change that from in your chat, just real quick, so everybody knows, if you see where it says to, it either says everyone or hosts and panelists. If you want everybody to see it, you got to switch it to everyone. Otherwise, it just comes to the ladies here that are the host or panelists on here. But yes, I thought it was really good to point out, God made male and female different. We have roles to fulfill. They're equally important. They're equally valid, but we have different roles to fulfill. And I think it's really awesome to see. I didn't know that about the helpmeet, what the word in Hebrew actually means. And that, I think, just completely, takes away the idea of this, that we're secondary, we're, like the wrong image that a lot of people have of a Christian woman compared to her husband. Which it's what that view people have is just, it's not biblical. But so that really was a really inspiring and an amazing thing for me to learn at this point, that that's what that actually means. I thought that was great. So I did have one person asking, I'm going to flip back a couple of slides real quick. Somebody wanted to I think they wanted to take a screenshot of this real quick. So I'll let them do that. But we are going to talk for a minute about what our community is going to look like here. Now, hopefully she got that screenshot. So, what were you saying? Did you say something, Diana?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did not.
Okay. All right. So there is going to be a community page on TRADEway's community site that we have. There is now going to be a community page just for the WOW community. And on this community, Diane, actually, this is your slide, so I'll let you take over.
Okay. So basically what we wanted to create a community where we can just be real. Okay. We just want to be real with one another. We want it to be a safe space where we can encourage one another. We can share in your joys. We want to celebrate with you. We want to cry with you. We want to pray for you. We want to know what your goals are. We want to help you achieve whatever those goals might be. If you're afraid of something, if you have any fears, we want to be able to help you work through that, because our goal is we want to help you be successful in all of the areas that we can. And also with your trading, we want to know how we can help you in addressing some of the things that might be kind of hampering you a little bit, and maybe you don't even know, but maybe through community and sharing, and we can all share together, we'll discover those things together and we'll conquer them. We'll be warriors together and we'll conquer some of our struggles. So we definitely want to do that with you. And then one of the other things that we want to do in the community is we're actually going to start a book club. And I know that probably sounds boring as all get out, but I do want to say this. My dad used to say all the time, it doesn't matter how good you are at something, if your head isn't screwed on right. See, I probably shouldn't have said that, because, well, I probably just shouldn't, but that's just part of maybe the Jesus filter wasn't on right at that moment, so please excuse me. But I mean, if your head isn't on straight, if you're not focused, if you're not thinking right, no matter what you're trying to do, you could have a challenge there or an obstacle that you need to overcome. So we're going to start exploring some of the trading books together. That's going to help us overcome some of the psychology of trading. And hopefully even within that, maybe not everything is just about trading, but just learning how to conquer different obstacles. We can apply those in all of our areas of life to help us achieve and grow together and learn together. So the next one, so this is the book. So this is the book that we're going to be exploring this time, is The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. And what we'd like to do is to have you over the next 30 days. And again, we're going to be addressing this and we're going to be working on this together in the community page, is we would like for you to read the forward through page 65. And here's what I'd like for you to do. And I'm very old fashioned. I'm a highlighter, right in the margins kind of girl. So what I'd like for you to do is, as you're reading it, any little thing that just jumps out at you, that grabs you, that's helped you, that you're like, gave you an aha moment, highlight it, put it in the community page and share it with all of us. Let it be a topic of conversation. And let's just share together and learn together. So for the first 30 days, these are the pages that we're going to be covering. And we're just going to be doing it together in a very informal manner within our community page.
Yeah, I want to just hop in for just a second. So we're going to do one book a quarter. Okay. And this time we are going to be doing a trading one, but I'm probably going to want to do like, maybe at times we might do that. It's more on biblical or spiritual or apologetics type things. So I just want everybody to realize it's probably not only going to be like a trading book. And we did have somebody say, is this just for people that trade? And in all reality, not really. Like, if you're a trader, great. If you're not, this free community, wow community here. My vision is it's more like, let's do our life together. It's almost like, let's have our own little Facebook page that's on the, the TRADEway site where we can do what Diana just said, encourage, edify, help one another, pray for one another. I'm probably going to implement, Wednesdays where we can, like post your win for the week. Was it a trading win? Great. Was it something you learned? Did you get your kitchen clean that night? That's the kind of stuff that I'm wanting to kind of see. And we're also going to post some guidelines for what the community, what it's for and what it's not for. And that will be pinned at the top of the community site, the WOW community site as well. Oh, hold on. I went too far. Can I go back? Okay, sorry. And then from time to time, we are going to do like this kind of webinar where we host a special wow webinar. And what we can do is then also put those replays or an archive link where you can see them in this community site. And, we're excited because at times we might have special guests join. We'll probably do like a trading tip, have some biblical encouragement in it, maybe talk a little bit more about, the book, but the book is really going to mainly focus on in the community where we can interact with one another and tell one another like, oh man, this really stuck out to me. What does this make you think? And I would love to see like a lot of action being taken place with the book, because I feel like everybody has different insights, and this will be like the 5th time I read the book. Maybe that's extreme. It's probably the 4th, but every time I read it, there is something else that I'm getting from it because I have grown as a person. And that's the same. That happens with every book, but especially the Bible too, right? So the more you read it, and as you grow, new things come forth. And that's the same with our trading journey as well. So we're excited about the community and then the special webinars that we'll do from time to time as well. I think Patricia is telling us there are free PDF links for the Mark Douglas posted. So we might have to go find that.
Okay. And when we find it, we'll
post
an
older book. It is an older book.
Well, and we can always post that in the community page.
Yeah. But I will say, I think what I know with that is that the page numbers don't line up with the actual physical book. But that'll be okay. So the next thing we wanted to go over, excuse me, is we do have a trading tip to go over. And we actually are pulling it from the book this time. Towards the back of the book, he actually has listed the steps to become a disciplined trader. And I think we kind of all realize that self-discipline is really the way that we can become successful or help us to accomplish any of our goals. And if we are not disciplined, we're not going to be able to accomplish the goals that we would, want to accomplish. So this first part, what we want you guys to think about for a second, I'd love to get some answers here. What is your main focus with trading?
Give them a second to kind of do that, because I'm very interested to see what their answers are going to be. So ladies, throw them in the chat. What is your focus on with trading? What do you focus on?
Okay, we got somebody saying to provide retirement income. Teresa, it's listed here on the page, actually, here, the Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas.
And we'll post it in the community page also.
Okay, we got people saying
legacy building,
learning the skills, but also making it a key source of income, win more than lose, learn more and learn from my mistakes. Rosa, that's great.
Yep. Look at all those great responses. Oh my goodness.
Passive income.
You're so wise. I love it.
Yep. So holy cow, there's a lot there. So what the next one though is your main focus to make money? And then the question is why? So really what I want, you don't even have to put this in there, but I want you guys to take a screenshot if you know how to do that, or write these questions down right here. And take some time after the webinar to really think about, what is your focus with trading? And is it to make money? Then why is that your main focus? And then do you think that focusing on the money you want to make is helping you trade, or is it hurting you trade? And if so, how is it helping or how is it hurting? And the reason why I want you guys to think about that is because his first step, Mark Douglas's first step to becoming a disciplined trader, is staying focused on what you need to learn rather than making money. And so the idea is to focus on the steps that we need to learn that would help us to achieve the goal of making money. Okay. So Diane, I think you had something you wanted to say here.
Right. So what I wanted to say is, I've talked to so many of you after you've left a surge event, or even if you're one of our top guns that are coming back in, and you're like, wow, look at all this stuff, and where do I start? And you said, it's like drinking from a fire hose. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so much. And what I have to say to that is, we how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Because it's so huge. So staying focused on what you need to learn and using the system. One of the things at TRADEway is everything that we do involves a system. Well, what does system stand for? Saving yourself time, energy, and money, right? So we have to learn first. I mean, there's a process. So trust the process, right? So we have to learn it first. Then we practice. Then we practice application, we apply, and then we step right into it. Because that's also the way that we challenge ourselves and we overcome fear, is through using a system and trusting the process. So that's all I wanted to say is, all of these other things, and ladies, listen, no judgment, no condemnation. If you said money, listen, I was right there with you, man. I was all gung-ho. I wanted to learn everything, and I wanted to be a gazillionaire, okay, to help further the kingdom and help my family and all those things. And all those things are very, very good things. And they're all very, very right. There's really not any wrong answer. But what we're asking you to do, because we want you to share, and this is about you and the community page, is to kind of get you focused on the right things. And that's why Jenny chose this book. And we really talked about it because we kind of kicked around a couple of different ones. And we thought, wow, this seems to be the one that we really felt like we should start with. So that's all I wanted to say, Jenny.
Yeah. And I forgot to say this too. And I've seen a couple of chats come in. So the point is of course, our ultimate goal with trading in the stock market is going to be make money. Like, you don't trade in the stock market to lose money, right? I mean, that is the ultimate goal. But what we're talking about here is, what is your focus on? Okay. And of course, you have that ultimate goal of, having it be for retirement, or being able to give more to your church, or go on missions, or support a missionary, et cetera, right? Those are the ultimate goals. That's your major why of trading. But if that's what you have your focus on, you are not going to learn what you need to learn to have the potential for that to actually happen, to actually achieve your goals. So that's where he's coming from. There's one paragraph here. And again, this is actually like the second to last chapter of the book. But he says there is a tremendous difference between focusing on money and focusing on using your trading as an exercise to identify what you need to learn. The first will cause you to focus on what the markets are giving you or are taking away from you. The second perspective causes you to focus your attention on your ability to give yourself money from the market, while the first perspective, you are placing some of the responsibility onto the markets to do something for you. With the second perspective, you assume all the responsibility. And that is another major mindset thing, is the market's not doing anything to you. You have the complete responsibility of what you are going to do with the trade you enter, and then when you exit. The market doesn't do anything to you. It just is. It's either moving up, or it's moving down, or it's moving sideways. It just is. It's not doing anything to you. So this is really the first step. And when you can look at this, as somebody had actually said it, they want to learn and also learn from their mistakes. So first of all, we don't even need to say their mistakes, because you are never going to win every trade that you do. The trading is probability math, and that's what it comes down to. So people on Wall Street do not assume they're going to be profitable every trade. And just because they have a trade that they lose money on, they maybe didn't make a mistake. So we can't just assume taking a loss with making a mistake, okay? And if you do make a mistake, then we need to learn from it and get that nasty connotation of, oh, I have to be perfect. If I make a mistake, I'm not perfect. And I'm worthless because I made a mistake. That's actually going to point two. But I wanted to hit on that. So again, this idea is to focus on what you need to learn to try to actually have the potential to achieve your goal, which of course your goal is to make money on the stock market. The second point from the book here actually is, I want you guys, and this is another one I want you to sit down and think about, and especially if you're actually trading. If you take an expense, what feelings are you having? When you've set a stop loss or you've set a stop alert and it goes off, do you go and get out immediately, or what thoughts are running through your head? So his second step is to learn how to deal with the losses that come. And the first one is you have to predefine what a loss is in every potential trade you're going to put on. Well, with stocks, if you've been to our first step one, you know what our rule is for that. So you have it predefined. You know, if you're getting into this trade, I would stop out at this percentage. Okay. And then once you know what your loss is, what the predefined loss is. And then the second step here is execute your losing trades immediately upon perception that they exist. As in, it means like execute your stop loss or go in and sell it. That's what that means. You go in and sell it immediately upon the perception that your predefined loss has taken place. And he says you need to just do this. If you do this over and over and over again, and you can execute it immediately, rather than considering, weighing, or judging whether to get out at your stop loss, when it becomes like an automatic thing, and you're not doing any of this. Oh, should I get out? Should I not? Oh, here's another place that it might bounce up off of. Oh, doing all those things is showing that you aren't actually following step 1 and 2 of dealing with losses. So that's why I say you need to figure out and write down, what emotions are you feeling? What thoughts are running through your head when you're taking an expense? Are you weighing whether to get out or not, even if it's at your stop loss? And then we have to work through that, at what those emotions actually mean. And that's what this book is helping you do. It's working through those emotions and figuring and going way below the underlying surface of, oh, I'm fearful. Well, why are you fearful? And it really helps you with all of that. So, there's a lot more in just that step 2, but I think that's probably a good place to end on the trading tip for this time.
I would like to say something.
Please do.
Because one of the things that I do when I'm trading, and I know that our Charts by TRADEway has a journaling feature and all of that. But again, I told you I'm a highlighter, writer, downer, paper girl.
Yes.
So I actually have a trading journal, and it's just a spiral notebook. That's all it is. And what all this really encompasses when you talk about all of these things is this: there's more to trading than just pushing the buttons. So one of the things that I do when I'm looking at potential trades is this: how am I feeling today? And I actually have this conversation with myself. You'll hear me say in an event sometimes, I'll say, the thing I love best about stock trading is I only have to argue with 3 people a day, me, myself, and I. And once I get that out of the way, I'm good to go for the day. So I actually write down, how am I feeling today? Am I alert? Am I focused? Why, not only what am I trading, but why am I trading it? Because, and I found through this exercise, and I can't remember who actually, brought this up at a TRADEway event. It was one of our speakers. I want to say it was Jeffrey Nance, but I'm not real sure. I don't remember. But the point of it is, I not only write down my trade, but I write my trade plan down. Okay. What am I trading? Why am I trading it? Where am I getting in? Where am I getting out? Okay. Where are my stop losses? There's more than one. Okay. Because when you get into a trade, you have to have a plan. You have to plan to enter, and you also need to have a plan for your exits. That's plural, ladies, plural. Because as your stock goes in the direction that you want it to go, you need to protect your profit. Okay. So what we're talking about is using the system and trading like a robot. We talk about that all the time, trading like a robot, because when you go in, you place your trade, you know what your plan is. I write mine down, however it works for you. Like I said, no judgment, no condemnation, whatever works for him, and you go with it, girl, you do you. But I actually write mine down because that's my praise book. I go back and, when I hit a home run, man, that's a home run, and I'm going to celebrate. I mean, I might be dancing around the room, who knows? But And by the way, I'll never do that to you. You'll never have to see that. So
With your dogs.
don't, with my dog. So don't worry about that. But I'm just saying that, that's part of what all of this is when we talk about, being disciplined, is being disciplined in the task. Follow the system, trust the process, plan your trade, manage your trade. And you know what? Even if you take an expense, and this is one of the things I want to talk to you about, is when you take an expense, listen, if you planned your trade and you followed your plan and you managed your trade and you took an expense, well, first of all, if you followed the system, if you did take an expense, okay, it was a small one. Okay. And if you didn't, girlfriend, that's on you. I don't know what to say to you, but it's on you. Okay. So we just got to take it, process it, package it, throw it away. And the next time we're going to do better. Right. And, but if you follow that process, there is no fear of loss because you're not thinking about that. You followed the process. So even if you take a small expense, girl, I still put that in the win column. That's still a win because I followed the system. I followed the process. And you know what? Like Jenny said, the market doesn't do anything to you. The market just is, right? So as long as we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, ladies, it's still one in the win column. It's still in the win column. Okay, I just want to impress that on you.
Well, and that's the probability math of trading working out, right? Yes. So, and I know all of our coaches and the speakers, all they talk about probabilities and all that. So, but yes, we're going to wrap it up here. We have just our ending slide. That's just this one. So,
well, I do have one question. One of the ladies asked me if I would please share what and how I'm going to do to teach my grandchildren. So Patty, basically what I'm doing is I am taking the actual TRADEway education, and I'm just going to associate it with things that the kids are interested in. As an example, and I've told this story before as well, Ross Query is one of our teacher speakers, and ladies, you've seen him on Market Corners. He's amazing. And my 8-year-old granddaughter, she was 8 years old at the time, Harper, she's 10 now. She wanted to come over and play, and I was for compliance, I was watching one of Ross's webinars, and also for learning, because listen, ladies, we're still always going to be students. We're always still learning something, right? And so she wanted to come over. And so long story short, I said, well, Nana's listening to a webinar and, I have to finish this. And she goes, well, I'll just come over and play. So she sat next to me and I gave her some colored pencils and things. And so the next thing I know, she's sitting on my lap and she's watching Ross teach this class. And it was a step 2. It was our step 2, know your options. And so he was going through all of the patterns. Well, she sat there long enough and she actually started recognizing the patterns. And she said, Nana, look, that's a rolling stock. And I realized it connected with me that I had this pie in the sky. Well, I've got to wait till they're 14, 15, 16 years old. Well, no, you don't. I mean, if they're interested, and by the way, while she was watching, she drew a very detailed picture of him that Ross's wife, Michelle, took from me and actually framed it and put it in his office. So that is basically what I'm doing. So my 10-year-old granddaughter, she's interested in softball. So I'm going to be using softball analogies with the underlying basis of the TRADEway education. So that's how I'm going to teach them.
Well, that is great. As Diana and I have been working on this and practicing our webinar, I've just been getting more excited about it. So I believe you're going to be getting an email after the webinar for how to join the community site. Is that correct, Diana or Katie? I don't know, Katie, if you want to come on.
I believe so.
Tell us how that's going to work. That would be great.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Ladies, you did a phenomenal job. Did they, y'all? Post it over there in the chat. They are stellar. I'm so pleased with how this went and all of the activity going on over there and the excitement about this. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. We'll see what the Lord does with your leadership, ladies. I think this is going to go a long way. Yes, as far as joining the actual community page, you will be hearing from us on that, because I believe what we're going to be able to do is just go ahead and automatically add you all, where there's not going to be a step that you have to take. basically, when you go to your community, you'll see that as a drop down now. It's called Women of Wisdom. So you'll be able to select that, see all of the posts, and we encourage you to get in there and post as well. So we can't wait to see that thing blow up. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your churches. This thing is going to get big, y'all.
Ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to tell you, we are just so humbled and thrilled to take this path and take this journey with you. And I just personally, for Jenny and I both, and Jenny, please, hop in. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And we look forward to getting the community site going and interacting with you there. We're grateful, and we pray that God is glorified through what we do here with the WOW community.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.